It was a little more scrappy than some of us was probably thinking, but we got it done.
Johnson goes to deny. Step back. Big play.
It's got you here.
Jones doesn't go. The tip by Broom. Up ahead, Harper.
Hello and welcome to this episode of War Eagle Weekly. How we doing, Josh?
Doing good. I hate that we got to watch basketball on a Tuesday evening while I'm at work, but we're doing pretty good.
That kind of sucks for you. Yeah, it's not the greatest. We are actually recording this episode on Monday, January 6th, so the day before the Texas game. And as you guys can see, we are not together for the first time in a couple of weeks, really. But we are excited to dive on into this. Josh, we had ourselves a pretty tough game against Missouri, all things considered. I think it was. I mean, we were up by 30 at some points, but I mean, it seemed tougher than what it really was. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe in the last 13 minutes of the game where Auburn just took the foot off the throat, but we were up by double digits almost the entire game. It seemed like Missouri, they lead the league in foul trips to the free throw line, and they only shot 2 more free throws than Auburn. I mean, you're not going to get very far in SEC play when you rely on foul shots. You're just not going to.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I feel like you should be able to be pretty good if you rely on foul shots. Auburn just did not get to the line that much. And honestly, we didn't foul them as much as I thought we would. But we definitely turned the ball over more than I thought we would. Arguably, I feel like it was a bad game for Todd Pettiford. Probably the worst game he's had all season, personally.
He still ended up with double digits. I mean, he finished the game
turnovers.
He did, yeah. He did struggle a little bit, but I mean, this is SEC play. It's a whole new ball game compared to out of conference play, and there's plenty of room to grow for Todd Pettiford. And the best part about that opportunity to grow is he has shown the willingness to actually grow and be coached up. And so I'm not discouraged by his 4 turnovers in the slightest.
Yeah, I think it just showed that he was a freshman and not quite used to, as the Locked On Missouri host called it when he was on Locked On Auburn, a relentless turnover machine is what he refers to Missouri. And they looked like it. They did. I mean, there were a lot of passes that we got lucky on. We had to go up high on. We had to extend a little bit more because they were playing the passing lanes. And it looked like a dirtier, grittier, tougher game than the score indicated, unless you look at the final, which again, Missouri came back there at the end.
Yeah, well, we still won 84-68. We still almost won by 20 points. Unfortunately, Auburn wasn't able to cover if you're a betting man, but regardless, the game turned out exactly the way I expected it to. The only thing that really stood out to me was that Missouri was able to actually out-rebound Auburn.
Yeah.
In the whole game. It was only by 2 rebounds, but when
centers
your
were
team is
huge.
They're big boys, that's for sure. But again, I mean, you're not going to have too many rebounding opportunities on the defensive side when, Auburn is shooting almost 60% from the floor as a whole. So
there was a long stretch. There was a long stretch where we were shooting 60% from the floor and 60% from threes. We were raining threes down on them.
We were crushing it. And Chad Baker-Mazara had another 4-point play, which was a huge boost in that point of the game. I mean, it's kind of crazy. We did out-rebound them on the defensive side by 5. They had 13 offensive rebounds to our 6. But again, when you're shooting 60% from the floor, you're not giving your guys too many opportunities to rebound offensively. And it just goes to show that Missouri was having a hard time shooting the ball because they finished at just under 39% from the floor as a team. So that was the only thing that I really was like negative on. But again, when you look at it, it's like, okay, well, you can't really expect too much when you're just not missing shots. You're not giving your guys the opportunity to rebound the damn ball, which is awesome.
And defensively, it feels like it was a tale of two halves because it was under a 10-point game at halftime, I believe, if I remember correctly.
It was 12 points. 12 points at halftime.
Okay, so it was a 12-point game at halftime, and then coming out of the half, we turned it up, and Missouri didn't score for a long stretch in the second half, and that's when we got up by 30, and we kind of really, took our foot off of the accelerator. It felt like, but the first half, we were draining threes. I mean, it was a three party, dude. It just felt like everybody could not miss. Chaney Johnson hit a three. Janai Broom hit a three. Tahad, Denver was out there, could not miss. Chad Kelly hit a couple of threes. Or Miles Kelly. Sorry, not Chad Kelly. Miles Kelly hit a couple of threes. Or no, he only hit one. He was 1 for 3.
Yeah, Miles Kelly. But he hit it from the logo.
Yeah.
So that counts as 2.
There you go. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But it just felt like we could not miss, like you were pointing out. We just weren't missing. So after the game, it's all said and done. It ended a little bit more like you thought. The first half, parts of the game felt like I thought it was going to happen because I was a little apprehensive coming into this game. But ultimately, I think you were right and not worried one bit. But what is something that we can take away from this game, do you think?
Just continue to be physical. It showed, like, there were times at the beginning of the game where Auburn wasn't as physical as they could have been, and then they just, like, Bruce Pearl's like, okay, this is ridiculous, and that's when he just let the dogs loose. He took the chains off and just let them all free, and there's really not too much I have to say about this game because, like you said, it did end the way that I thought it was going to be. I did think we were going to win by 20 plus. We only ended up winning by 16. 16 points, which is still awesome. I think the line was 18-point favorite for Auburn. So
yeah, it was.
It is par for the course, basically. Par for the course.
Okay. Well, I mean, again, for me, I thought that we were going to have some issues not turning the ball over. And again, I was concerned about Pettiford and his willingness to make the easy pass, in the sense that it felt like there was no urgency to his pass. He was kind of just tossing it out there. And it was like, as soon as he started the passing motion, I was like, well, there's a turnover. There's a turnover. There was a stretch there where he turned it over, I feel like 3 times in a matter of 5 minutes. It was just absolutely ridiculous. So I was concerned about that. And I was concerned also, they pointed it out in the commentating that there was a stretch there where Tahad was doing a lot of dribbling instead of passing the ball, was trying to probe and trying to figure out how he can attack the defense. And at times it felt like he wanted to do too much. He was wanting to to point out the fact that he is better than them. And I want that in a guy. I mean, we talked about it with Peyton Thorne all football season, that I was like, I want to see the fire that this guy has. I saw it from Pettiford. And so I can't argue there in that sense. And there's probably going to be a stretch in the season where we're going to need him to handle the ball as much as he did in this Missouri game. But the way that we were moving it in the first half, it got stagnant in the second half when he was just kind of dribbling around doing what he wanted to. And that was concerning to me.
I can see that. But again, these are all coachable things. And he's a coachable player. So that's the encouraging part. And that's why I'm not discouraged from his performance at all. Again, he ended up with 10 points. So he got in the double figures. He's got to shore up those. He's got to shore up those turnovers and his decision making. And when you shore those up, he's going to be a complete guard, because we know he defends his butt off. He doesn't take any distance off at all. Like, every time if you want to point to a player that's always hustling besides Chad Baker-Mazara and Dylan Cardwell, it's going to be Tahad Pettiford. It's like he still thinks he has something to prove.
Yeah. It's
like he's playing like he has something to prove still, which we all know he really doesn't. He's a good player. He's a well-rounded guard, but it's an easy fix.
Either way, it was a win to start conference play. I don't think any of us can be upset with that. and we head into our next conference game, which is away at Texas tomorrow, tonight. If you're listening to this episode or watching this episode, it is happening tonight at 8 p.m. Central Time on ESPN2. Texas is 11-3 coming into the season. You predicted that we would win this game. I predicted that we were going to lose this game.
Yes,
I definitely do not think that that's going to be the case to tomorrow. Texas, their losses have come against UConn and Ohio State, which Ohio State depends on who you're playing against, apparently. But that was their first game of the season. They lost against Ohio State, and then they lost against Texas A&M, which is a damn good basketball team.
They got routed by Texas A&M. Yeah, they got routed.
Yeah. So ultimately, it's an away game, and in our preseason prediction, I hammered home the fact that winning away from home in the SEC this year was going to be very, very tough. And I think I maintain that it's going to be difficult. I don't think we're going to roll. I do think it is going to be a difficult game, but I do think we have the boys, we do have the guys to win this game. I really do. And I think it all starts with Janai Broome for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, everything on this team runs through Janai Broome. Every aspect of the team's game runs through Janai Broome.
It looks so much better when it runs through him.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a reason why Janai Broome is leading Auburn in almost all major stats. He's leading the team in assists per game, which is only 3.3, but still, when you got a center leading your team in assists, rebounds, and points, I mean, you got yourself a regular Nikolai Jokic on your team. And so
let's not go there, man. Let's not go there.
College version. There. I fixed it. College version of Nikolai Jokic. But he's not getting triple doubles. But either way, I think a road game in the SEC against Texas is something to, keep an eye on. But I think the Texas fans are going to be more worried about the playoff game they got coming up against Ohio State. So hopefully their fans do not show up.
I think that's a very good point.
I think it's Saturday. Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
So if that's the case, if this game was on Saturday or Friday night, then maybe you might have a point. But it's on a Tuesday night. You're still going to have the crowd show up, I think.
I'm hoping not. I'm still hoping not. But
you have
make
a fair point.
We looked good against Duke on the road in Cameron Indoor, so I don't think Auburn is going to – I think the players are going to be ready to face whatever crowd Texas has ready.
That's true. I don't think we're going to see a tougher environment than Cameron Indoor all year long.
Absolutely not.
It may be louder at times in the Auburn-Alabama game, but when we're playing there at Alabama. But I don't think it'll
Let's just hope they keep the lights on.
Hopefully they paid the bills. Apparently they're having a problem with that.
Yep. Freaking Kalen DeBoer.
Oh man. So this game here, Texas. It's the first time we've played Texas since they joined the conference. Statistically speaking, they have a guard that's scoring 19 points a game. Which, I mean, I don't care who you are. If you're scoring 19 points a game, you're doing something right.
It's true. I mean, every team is going to have their go-to player. Every single team is going to. Texas guy, I mean, they got a guy that's scoring 19 points a game. Yeah, he's a baller in all aspects of the game. So, I mean,
almost 60%, or I'm sorry, almost 51% from the floor as a guard.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's absolutely crazy. So I don't think this Texas team is going to be a team that Auburn can just push over. They're going to have to wear them down, and that's what the first half is for. The first half is for Auburn to find their footing and to wear the teams down. And then the second half, nobody's better at second half adjustments than Bruce Pearl. He's proven that time and time again. And so if you can get through the first half, either up a few points or down one possession, it's gonna look pretty for Auburn. It's going to be very favorable for Auburn. But again, I don't think this is going to be a game. I don't think this is going to be a game where everyone should expect Auburn to just wipe the floor with Texas, because this is a good Texas team. they've lost against 3 good teams: UConn, Texas A&M, and Ohio State. Ohio State was the first loss of the season, so everyone expects teams to trip up first week. They tripped up first week, went on a streak, lost against UConn, and then lost against Texas A&M in embarrassing fashion this past their last game. But I look for Texas to make a bounce back and make it actually competitive for Auburn.
Well, so the nice thing is against Texas A&M and that Buzz Williams coached team, who they are relentless on defense as well. He only scored 11 points. He still didn't have any turnovers. So that's kind of interesting. But they were able to hold him to 11 points. So you've got to think that between Denver Jones and Tahad, we should be able to do something pretty similar. And maybe there might be at times where we put Chad on, depending on how he plays, for sure.
Well, let's just hope he's fiery, that doesn't foul. But I mean, when you're playing a team that shoots over 50% from the floor, I mean that should make you pause for concern, because again, I do think Auburn is going to beat Texas, and it's going to be a fairly comfortable victory.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think Texas is going to put up a damn good fight.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think it's going to be a tough game. Tough road environment. I still maintain that I think it'll be tough. It's so hard to win on the road in the SEC. And speaking of trying to win on the road, we also then this upcoming Saturday have a game against South Carolina at South Carolina. It's going to be 11 a.m. Central Time on the SEC Network. So this too is going to be maybe not so tough. I mean, South Carolina looked terrible.
They are the worst in the SEC.
Was it Kentucky?
They lost.
No.
Mississippi State.
Tennessee. Yeah, Mississippi State. Oh my gosh, I can't even keep straight who I'm watching on.
They lost by 25 to Mississippi State.
Yeah, Mississippi State looked better than I thought they were going to, but South Carolina definitely also looked worse. But again, it was on the road. They were playing at Mississippi State. So maybe that's a factor. Heading into this game, South Carolina's 10-4. Who are their 4 losses been against?
North Florida won, 16 Indiana.
Holy shit.
And then 22 Xavier, and then 17 Mississippi State. So all their losses have come against ranked teams other than North Florida. And those losses,
loss against North Florida.
They really weren't even that close. Yeah, they lost by 3 to North Florida. The closest loss was 75-66 to 22 Xavier, and they had Xavier at home. But, I mean, South Carolina is the worst team in the SEC for a reason. I think they have too many guys on their team that want to make a name for themselves, which is fine. Yeah. But when you're playing hero and hog ball, it's not good for the team.
No, in South Carolina, they lost a couple of good key players to the transfer portal, so you'll give them that. They still have the guy that ran his mouth in the SEC tournament team, talking about how he wanted Auburn and he was going to, teach them what was what. After we whooped their ass by 40 points in the regular season, it's like, come on, man.
Colin Murray Boyles.
Yeah. So, but man, freaking North Florida is 7-8 on the year, so they're not even a good basketball team. Oh my gosh, that is a terrible loss. So honestly, again, it's I cannot say this enough. Winning on the road in the SEC is tough, and so I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk. I don't think it's going to be a 40-point game when it's all said and done, but we should win by 20. I don't even know what the line is. Do you know what the line is here?
I don't. I do know that Auburn has an 88.5% chance to win. I don't think the line's out just yet, to be honest with you.
Okay. All right. It doesn't look like there's any line yet, which is a little unfortunate, but I
think we're going to walk South Carolina. I think we're going to walk them.
We'll see. Okay, so now here's the next discussion I want to ask real quick. Our definition of walking a team this year, is 20 points enough to consider it a walk? I mean,
I would say 25 points would be a walk. I'd say 25 points would be a walk, especially if we're up by 40 and we put the walk-ins in with half of the second half to go.
Yeah.
Because that's what we have been doing. That's what Auburn's been doing. So I really do think we're going to walk South Carolina. I think we're going to show everybody why South Carolina is the 16th ranked team in the 16-team conference in the SEC.
Yeah.
It's just they're the worst.
They haven't looked great. But all in all, it should be an exciting 2 games. Auburn is still only one loss on the year, still ranked number 2 in the latest AP poll. I'm okay with that. They can rank Tennessee number 1 as long as they want.
That schedule is so terrible. I don't get how they can justify putting Tennessee at number 1 over Auburn, who has 6 or 7 quad 1 wins now.
6.
I think actually, yeah, we're 6-1 in quad 1 games. No,
I
they're
don't think
not.
Missouri was a quad
1s.
Okay, but I mean, I'm okay with living where we are. We're the number 2 team in the country. It's going to be decided before the end of the month. We're going to be playing Tennessee. That we're going to get them at home. We don't have to go up there to Tennessee to play them. But all in all, Josh, this is going to be an exciting year. Already is crazy fun to watch this team. All these players love playing with each other, love seeing the excitement from the players. Cannot express how excited I am on this year. You know, I was booging at the beginning of the year talking about national title or bust. I wouldn't. I mean, I'm not going to be mad at this team if we don't win the national title.
Cameron, what's the least you would accept? What's the least you would accept from this team this year?
The least I would accept? I mean, honestly, I would say the season is a failure if we don't make the Sweet 16. I think that it's tough to make it. I really do think it's tough to make it. And Yale last year is giving me pause. But this team, with how many veterans are on this team and how many seniors are on this team, Sweet 16 should, barring injury, should be the floor for this team. And I would be disappointed with anything less than Sweet 16.
See, I'm a little more hardcore about it. I want an outright SEC title in the tournament and regular season, and I want at least an Elite 8 appearance.
Yeah, I don't care about the SEC title.
Oh, I want it.
I mean, of course I want it. I'd be okay with it if we won it, but I'm not going to be like, oh, the team is a total failure if they make the Final Four, but yet didn't win the SEC title, regular season or tournament. I won't care.
I will. I'll tell you what, though, if they get seeded to Salt Lake this year, I'll be going to any game they show up to. No doubt.
Here's hoping, man. Usually the number 1 seed of the tournament is pretty close to home, so I don't see them coming all the way across the country. But we'll see.
I'd like it.
Yeah. So, Josh, tell the people where they can catch us.
You can find us on the internet, wherever you got internet.
All across.
YouTube, War Eagle Weekly, X, War Eagle Weekly, TikTok, War Eagle Weekly, forever. How long that is still a thing in America? I don't think the ban is going to take effect at all. But if it does, you find us on Instagram, War Eagle Weekly as well. We're all over the place, Facebook, all of it.
Yep, absolutely. Every episode is available on Spotify, iHeartRadio, as well as Apple Podcasts. Guys, do not forget to subscribe. Leave us a comment down below. How good is this team? How many more wins can they get? I don't want to steal something from Locked On Auburn, but what is our record in the next 5 games? It should be exciting to say. Josh, hold on to your prediction. Let's see what the people below say. And with that, Josh, War Eagle.
War damn Eagle.
Johnson goes to deny. Step back. Big play.
It's got you here.
Jones doesn't go. The tip by Broom. Up ahead, Harper. Oh!